despite another winter storm, a terrific crowd on hand tonight at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. It's Villanova and Providence, and the term urgency really emerges tonight. As we welcome you to courtside, everybody, Dick Stockton along with Gary Williams, and of course a sense of urgency for Providence. This could be a survival game for them, and for Villanova, much needed bounce back game after their loss to Creighton. But there is no question, Gary, as we go in, who the top marquee players are for each team.
Well, Bell for Villanova has got a big role tonight. He's a great three-point shooter, great rebounder, but tonight he's got to be a leader. He's got to bring Villanova back. If he comes out ready to play, Villanova will be ready to play, and I think that's as important as anything else he does tonight. On the other hand, a player like Cotton, he knows Villanova's going to come after him. Villanova's guards are big and physical. They look to take Cotton out of the game, so he's got to make sure the ball goes inside, because Providence does have an advantage inside. If they can get the one big man Villanova really plays, Ochefu, in some foul trouble, that's to Providence's advantage.
Gary, another factor could be the depth of the respective teams.
Without a doubt. Providence has gotten away with playing 6. Villanova's definitely going to play 9. They're going to try to wear Providence down, but Providence and Ed Cooley do a great job of playing the way they have to play. They're going to try to control the tempo in the half court. All
right, there you see a stark comparison there. Let's look at the starting lineups for Villanova. They have scored 80 or more points in 4 of their last 5. Hilliard, Arcidiacono, Bell, Pinkston, and Ochefu start for them. And for the Providence Friars, they had all 5 of their players in double figures in the win over DePaul, ending a 3-game losing streak for them. And of course, Bryce Cotton, the key man for them, but they play a lot of minutes. There's no question about that. So, in the first meeting between these teams, no contest, as Villanova won by 30 points, never looked back. And so you wonder what kind of effect that has as we get underway here.
Yeah, both teams have to have amnesia. Villanova from the Creighton game and Providence from the first Villanova game. So here we go.
Arcidiacono guarding Cotton, and they go down low to Batts, and his turnaround gives Providence the lead.
That's big. They go inside right away, and that's where Cotton's really good. Instead of looking for his own shot, he's willing to go inside to let Villanova know they're going to try to attack him there.
So already, Providence has a lead they never had in the first game at Villanova.
One of the things that Creighton did a good job is taking away the three-point looks for Villanova.
Pinkston inside ties it up, and Villanova really had no chance to try the 3 on the first possession.
Yeah, but Pinkston is really good because he's versatile. He can go inside and go outside. He's a tough 240-pound player.
Cotton misses the 3, but Batts gets the offensive rebound. And still controlled by Cotton.
Yeah, now right here, I would think they would want to run some time off the clock and really look inside first before they take an outside shot.
And here is Fortune. Loses his man. Arcidiacono falls out, and the ball goes in and out. So here comes Villanova back. 2-2 early going.
Providence trying to get back and not give Villanova 3s in transition. Sometimes they're the best 3s you can take when the defense isn't set in transition.
Pinkston hit one from close in the first time, not this time around.
And I think Providence isn't disappointed. You know, they'll kind of give that shot that they want Pinkston to have to face up and not be strong taking it to the basket.
Providence has had good success against Villanova here. They've won their last 2 on this floor, even though they were blown out at Villanova earlier this year. Good pass inside.
Here we go inside again.
Harris.
That's a really good look. I mean, you get that look every time, you're pretty happy for Providence.
Driving the basket, and turnover. Harris gets it into Cotton's hands. Bell is back, though, and here's Cotton, loops it up and in.
Now that's a little Allen Iverson look right there. I mean, that he shoots off balance, but he's off balance, but the defense is off balance. They can't get up into him when he shoots.
Talked about the Iron Man. He's played a lot of 50-minute games when they had those double overtime.
He's a throwback. That's what you used to do.
Arcidiacono, and Cotton won't let him get unleashed. Here's Arcidiacono, and he throws the ball away. Another turnover by Villanova. 3-on-2 now, and here is Fortune hitting the shot. Transition baskets and a quick timeout called by Jay Wright.
I think that's a great timeout because they're coming off a performance where they might have lost a little confidence. Right now, Jay's really trying to pump them up in the huddle and tell them we're better than this. We can do a lot better than what we've done so far. Here we go. This is That's the Euro step where you step one way, then you come back the other way, and it gets the defense off balance. And then open jumpers are good in transition. A lot of teams won't take that shot, but I think you have to take that if that's available.
So the Providence Friars, who need this game badly at 7-6, and you're running toward the end of the season, this would be a feather in their cap if they were to beat Villanova, even though it is at home. The last time they beat a top 10 team was back in 2011 when they beat Villanova, at the time ranked number 8. Right now, the Wildcats are ranked 9.
Yeah, I think you have to win up this time of year. If you're Providence, you need to win against a ranked team to really help your tournament chances. This is interesting. 2 point guards in the lineup now for Villanova, and they're taking Archie off the ball and getting a little better ball hang out of there because they turned it over quite a few times early in the game.
And there's a 3 missed outside. Tony Chenault has come in the game, and Bell with the follow gets the basket. And the basket counts, and the foul as well.
Yeah, this is a great offensive rebound right here. Nobody boxed him out, and he just takes it and finishes and gets fouled. Villanova has gone really small.
Yes.
You know, they have basically 5 guards out there on the court right now. Some physical players, but not much bigger than 6'6". So it'll be interesting to see if Providence can go inside down the other end and take advantage of Villanova's size.
Well, Dante Hinton committed the foul, and Bell has the 3-point play. So coach is right. Hilliard, Archie Diacono, joined by Tony Chenault, the 6'2" senior from Philadelphia, and a physical guard. Trap.
Yeah, right there, Villanova's not afraid to trap because they can recover quickly with a small team.
Harris travels.
And see, what that does, the trap gets you out of your half-court offense. So all of a sudden, Harris is taking a shot that's not part of his offense. And the trap takes place, so they kick it to the open man, and Harris stops and then shuffles his feet and gets called for the ball.
And Pinkston did a good job of holding his ground.
Pinkston's a veteran player. He's a really good defensive player. He's got to be a key guy for going over tonight.
Averaging nearly 15 a game, but it's other things as well. Chenault has a shot, but doesn't go. Bell instead hits the 3. So James Bell, who was 5 for 6 from the 3-point range Sunday against DePaul, on the route to 18 points. 8-6, Villanova.
Yeah, Villanova with little pressure. Didn't get the strong trap at half court that time. But they're really coming out aggressively with this small team now. And Providence goes right inside.
Inside out, bats to Fortune for 3. So there is Fortune hitting from outside. Josh Fortune, 6'5" sophomore from Hampton, Virginia, only scored few points, did not score in the first game against these teams.
Yeah, you notice Cotton, he's trying to get everybody involved, and if some of the other players like a Fortune can make shots, that really helps Providence for the rest of the game.
And here's Bell with another 3. In their first meeting, Bell had only 6 points. He got into foul trouble early, but he's off and running in this one.
How strong is Bell? He catches it going away from the basket and goes up like it's a 5-footer.
And Batts is fouled in the lane. So Bell now with 9 points, including 2 threes, sparking Villanova early on. Jay Wright, as Gary mentioned, good timeout early. Nova by 2. On offense for Villanova or for Providence.
Yeah, Harris makes a good pass. He identifies Villanova playing behind the post. Villanova helps a little bit, and they do a great job of screening away to bring a guy over for Chenault over for the 3-point shot. Any coach likes inside-out offense. You don't want to miss looks inside because that's the way you get to the free throw line. That's the way you play your power game. But when the team sags, you got to react, and you do that by moving when the ball goes into the post. You don't stand there and watch your player throw the ball into the post. Everybody moves, and you get open.
Meanwhile, Gary, Bell has 9 of Villanova's 11, 3 for 3 from the field. So he's gotten off to a hot start.
Yeah, he's got that strength to shoot threes from a couple feet behind the college line.
Plenty of time on the clock. Here's Batts against the smaller Chenault. Couldn't do anything, and here's Cotton. Nearly has it stripped away by Archie Diacono, and he does cause the turnover. Here is Pinkston, can't hold that anchor foot, and is called for traveling.
You know, when you turn a ball over, you have to do what Providence did defensively. You just got to sprint back to the paint, make sure they don't get anything, then it doesn't hurt you as much.
So you're looking at an Iron Man Providence team, as Gary mentioned, 6, maybe even 7 guys, but 6, DeRozier will be the only factor coming off the bench for them. at least at the outset. DeRozier's in the game right now. Here is Henton, defended by Hilliard, and defended well.
Yeah, this is their flex set. They didn't get much out of it, so now it goes one-on-one.
And Batts is fouled. So Batts is fouled. Jay Wright, and what he's got to do is get a team back after getting whomped.
Yeah, you could tell at the start of the game, I thought Jay made a great timeout because his team really wasn't ready to play. He got them pumped up in the timeout and got them ready to go. And now it's an even game. And that foul right there hurt a little bit because the Providence player was in trouble. He probably wasn't going to score, and the foul kind of bailed him out. Tough situation.
Oshefu committing the foul. So Batts is on the free throw line.
You know, and that really, you know, Oshefu, he can't get in foul trouble. Even though Villanova can play a lot of guys, they don't have anybody come in and do what he does. There's nobody 6'11" coming in. So
Dylan Ennis comes into the game.
Yeah, and look at the size. I mean, it's 6'6" is the biggest they have out there in the court.
Villanova doesn't have the true big man, but they have good wings to go along with their terrific guards.
Great athletic ability. Plus, they can play like guards and forwards. They're like hybrid players.
One free throw. Here's Bell, and has it knocked away. DeRozier with the block. Here's Cotton. Villanova's back defensively. Cotton aware of it. DeRozier trying to set a screen outside. Now goes low.
Yeah, great job by Villanova in transition that time.
Here's Batts. And Oshefu pushing it out. Good move. Beating him off the dribble is Batts against Oshefu.
That was a great move. And against the big guy, you use the rim to protect your shot. That was a good example right there by Batts.
Seesaw game here. Nearly 6 minutes gone by. So important, and a great crowd on hand here, despite the snow. Chenault penetrating inside, out of bounds, and it'll be Providence ball on the turnover.
Yeah, this is a great block because he gets him from behind without fouling, and usually you foul in that situation. Right here, this is a great move. The left hand, use the rim to protect yourself from the big guy trying to block your shot.
Already 4 lead changes in this game.
Yeah, this has the earmarks of a great game because neither one of these teams is going to go away. They realize the importance of this game.
Cotton guarded by Chenault. Batts trying to set the screen at the top. Cotton. Chenault did a great job defensively. And the comeback by Harris is good. Harris.
Yeah, I think Providence can definitely hurt Villanova on the offensive boards. But one of the key things, and they brought Chenault in early just to stop Cotton, and he's done a great job so far.
Cotton has just scored 2 points in the game. Pixton fouled. He was just going to challenge DeRozier, no question about it, determined to do so, and he'll go to the line.
Yeah, I think he was really going in there to try to draw the contact that time, and he did a good job of doing that. And that's Villanova's game right there. To me, with the people they have in the court, they can slash with any team in the country. And when they get away from that, they're not nearly as good offensively.
DeRozier committing the foul, and Pinkston misses the first. Ed Cooley done a terrific job with the short bench for this team.
It's unbelievable. He was dealt a tough hand this year. He had a transfer and he had a guy hurt that he was really going to count on, both those guys. And here he comes in, and they're in a position to get to the NCAA tournament this year. So he's done a great job.
So Pinkston misses both. Villanova only 3 losses, 2 against Creighton, both blowouts, and a tough loss to Syracuse when they led 25-7. But here's Providence, and they're going to call the foul on Hilliard against DeRozier, and they're really finding the good matchups inside.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to pick Villanova apart, wherever the mismatch is, and there'll be a mismatch each time down because of the size Villanova has in the court. They're going after that guy, DeRozier, that time. And as long as they can continue to do that, Villanova is going to have to figure out how much help they have to give on the post, because so far they haven't been able to play one-on-one defense on the post player for Providence.
Keep in mind the Friars, who lost 3 in a row before beating DePaul, had won 6 out of 7 prior to that. Fell off in the little ranking as far as the Big East is concerned, trying to regain it. This would be a big step for them if they could come out with a win. Cotton, they've done a great job against him.
It's unbelievable. Chenault's come into the game, and he's just really played him tough, and they're not giving him a lot of help right now. It's just him trying to stop Cotton.
Cotton again picked up by Pinkston on the switch.
Yeah, now when that switch takes place, they have to look inside for the switch man.
And here is the three-point basket by Josh Fortune. Josh Fortune.
I think Ed Cooley feels about his team that he needs other guys to shoot the ball beside Cotton, because they're going to do what they're doing to Cotton, but if the other guys step up, they're still okay.
Biggest lead so far, 6 points for the Friars. And a foul is called. So Fortune committing the personal foul. That'll be his first.
Yeah, this is, see, the help came over. Chenault came over for help, but Fortune was open. But that doesn't mean anything unless you can hit the shot, and he hit the shot.
So Chenault gets a well-deserved breather. Josh Hart is coming into the game for Villanova. He's their top scorer off the bench. Josh Hart, a freshman from Silver Spring, Maryland. Sure, you recruited a lot of guys from there.
I saw him play in high school. He's a great athlete, and he brings energy on the court, which is typical of all the Villanova players.
Averaging 8, leading scorer off the bench. Here is Pinkston in the lane. Works beautifully. Javon Pinkston.
At 240 pounds. It's just an incredible move by a guy that big. He's really tough when he gets that close to the rim.
A little three-quarter pressure by Villanova.
Yeah, just trying to get him out of their offense.
And here's Fortune getting free and hits. Boy, that's a bonus if they get Josh Fortune to hit the perimeter shot.
Well, for Providence to win, you have to do something special when you're playing a team as good as Villanova. And if it's Fortune making shots, that might be enough to get Providence over the top.
No foul called, even though there was contact. Ennis.
Looking to dribble penetrate.
Good trap by Providence. Here's Ennis with a long three, and the rebound taken down by LaDante Hinton. Cotton in the corner, in rhythm, and a three for Tyler Harris.
That's big. They've gotten wing shooting. As the defense has narrowed on Cotton, their wings are open and they're getting scoring from their wings.
3 threes for Providence. Harris hits his first, and the lead is 9. Early still in this game. And a 9-point lead opened up by Providence in an early seesaw game. Providence 3 for 4 from 3.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Villanova's helping on the ball, mostly on Cotton when he has the ball, but they're helping whoever has the ball. And you can kick that pass, but you have to make the shot. And so far, Providence has made the shots. Harris right here, that's big if he shoots it. You know, his stroke looks good. It looks like he should be a good outside shooter.
Arcidiacono at the point, Hilliard the other guard. Pinkston setting the screen at the top and now going low. And now we have a foul against Providence away from the ball.
Now this is a veteran referee crew. They're looking to take away the cheap stuff.
And it'll be Hinton's second foul, so that bears watching. LaDante Hinton, remember, this is not a deep bench, as Gary pointed out early. We'll take a timeout. Be right back. In tonight's AT&T Impossible Feats, Providence ran through the 1994 Big East Tournament at Madison Square Garden. They beat Villanova, Connecticut, and then finally Georgetown. Michael Smith was the MVP and led them to Providence's first ever Big East title. And the Providence Friars, as Ed Cotton said before the game, or Ed Cooley, I should said before the game, he says it's been a long time since this institution has had a significant game to play getting toward the end of the season.
Yeah, and that's really a good point. As a coach, you want to get your team there, especially what Providence was through early in the year. Ed Cooley's done a great job of getting them to this point where this game's a big deal. I mean, this could be the game that puts them over the top in a bubble situation or whatever. So the players are aware of it, Ed's aware of it, but they came out relaxed and are really playing well.
And you mentioned you need someone else to emerge. So far, Josh Fortune, 3 points over his season's average.
Yeah, and they're making shots. Right now, Villanova's problem is their defense. It's not their offense, it's their defense.
Well, Villanova shooting 56%, you say that's pretty good, but they've had 4 fewer shots taken than Providence, which is key.
Yeah, and, you know, Villanova, as long as they can slash, they'll be okay offensively, but they're getting caught a little bit getting back on defense because of the dribble penetration like here.
Hilliard going in, and it's batted away by DeRozier, and Providence can't save it. So DeRozier, second in the Big East, averaging nearly 3 blocks per game.
Very underrated, because once you do that, That bothers the team. In other words, everybody on Villanova is watching this block and they're saying, I don't know if I want to take it in there again against him. So that block's worth more than one block.
And he emerged offensively as well against DePaul. Had 12 points, and here is Hilliard missing from outside. Pinkston getting the offensive board.
Yeah, there's an example. Villanova's perimeter guys all can go in and rebound. They're very strong, athletic people.
Bell with an air ball, and Hart takes it away from him. Hart takes it away from Batts, but they're going to call the foul against Hart.
See, I think that's a good aggressive play. You know, two guys going after the ball, but when you're behind the other guy, it's almost always a foul on you.
Yes.
I've never understood that.
Probably because it had called on the Terrapins a few times, right?
Yeah. Referees are much better since I've been done coaching.
Steal by Archie Diacono. Laid in by Bell, so there's another transition basket.
That's twice Cotton's given it up on the help on the screen and roll play. Villanova's really doing a good job of putting more than one player on Cotton whenever they can. But now Providence has to come back and go inside again. They can't get away from that.
Still been a 13-4 Providence run, even after that last basket by Villanova.
Okay, this is the flex offense. This offense is supposed to get the ball inside, but they're out of it now.
Cotton still only 2 points in the game, and a 7-point Providence lead, and they're going to call traveling. Traveling is called against Cotton.
Well, it's good to see that he didn't sprain his ankle. He went down funny. I thought he might have twisted his ankle, but he looks okay. Here it is right here. Steps on the foot of the Villanova player, and that's what forced the turnover.
Cotton 1 for 3. 2 points, but has 3 assists.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, though. He comes on as the game goes on. He's going to start looking more for his shot as time goes by.
He has plenty of time to warm up. He'll be in there the whole game. Hilliard in and out for the 3, and Harris fighting for the boards, gets it, and is fouled. So another foul called against Villanova, and that'll be on Bell, his first.
Yeah, this is a key time for Villanova. You still got a minute to go before the media timeout. And right here, you don't want to get down again by 10 or whatever. You want to keep it where it is or narrow the lead.
3-game road trips, not an easy thing.
No, we're not used to that. I don't remember a 3-game road trip. When we lost 2, it seemed like a 10-game road trip.
And Fortune short on the 3-point attempt. Oshifu getting a rebound. And here's Archie Diacono. Did not travel it. Cooley said he did. Instead, it ends up to be a 3 for Darren Hilliard.
Best thing Villanova does on offense is dribble, penetrate, force help, and then kick to the open man. And that was the prime example right there.
Hilliard's first points of the game. Bell has 11 of the 18 Villanova points here with under 8.5 to play in the first half.
Now, they've got a mismatch. They took advantage of it.
And Batts and a block inside. DeRozier misses the follow-up. Knocked away out of bounds. And his last touch by Villanova. As Tony Chenault will come back in the game for the Wildcats.
Well, right here, let's see if he kept his foot on the floor. Yes, he did. That's not a travel. So that was a really good call by the referee. And what referees are doing now, they're pointing to the pivot foot to let everybody know why he didn't call a travel. And I like that. That helps things for coaches, too.
Clarifies it all. Tough defense inside and the turnaround. Here comes Villanova. Chenault back in. Cotton defending him. Pinkston runs into a 2-man defense interior.
Well, they took Bell away from the 3. I think Bell thought he had a 3-point look, but they really came after him hard there.
Bell with a O'Shepard setting the screen. Misses. And the follow-up by Hart. Josh Hart, who not only averages 8 coming off the bench, but 4 rebounds. Pretty good.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He don't have a position, and you say, well, what's he going to play in college? Well, he's just a good basketball player, so he's going to play in college somewhere.
That's setting a screen at the outset. Now picked up by Pinkston. He'll fire from the top and hit.
Pinkston thought he got hit with an elbow there on the fake, but the referees didn't think so, so that's what matters.
So a 4-point game. Remember Hinton when he went out with 2 fouls. Providence was leading by 9 at the time. So Villanova's made up 5 since Hinton has been on the bench. And here is Bell. Pretty move. doesn't fall. Offensive rebound by Oshefu, and he will go to the line. Good, relentless offensive board pressure by Villanova.
Last couple times down, Villanova's got offensive rebounds. The game's changing because of that. Creighton and Villanova, anybody. They think they can play.
And they beat Creighton, and of course a big win against Georgetown, because that was a game in which somebody was going to go 7-6 in the Big East, and they did. They were a little unselfish early, relied on perimeter shooting, didn't play tight defense. All that's changed.
Yeah, and the defensive point, I noticed that against Georgetown. Georgetown just didn't get a lot of open looks. And, you know, coupled with St. John's ability to score in the open court, they're a very good team right now.
So Ennis, along with Chenault, Pinkston, Oshefu, and Hilliard coming out. So once again, a smallish team for Villanova as Oshefu goes to the line.
You know, really, that's 4 guards and a big man. And what Providence has, they have 2 or 3 matchups where they have a size advantage. So it'll be interesting to see if they go inside right away, because I'm sure Ed Cooley has recognized the substitutes also.
And keep in mind that DeRozier has 2 personal fouls in this game, so you got 2 of the bigger players with 2 fouls.
Yeah, 2 fouls in the first half. I'm sure Ed Cooley doesn't like that. He gets a little nervous with that, but they've handled that all year. They've done a great job with that.
Oshefu, 60% free throw shooter, comes up empty on both. So Villanova trying to move in again. They have outscored Providence ever since Hinton went out with the 2 fouls by 5. And the pass thrown over the head of Cotton. So a turnover. Villanova gets it back.
Yeah, that's not a bad turnover, though, because the ball went out of bounds. Villanova couldn't run. Plus, Cotton was open. The guy knew what he wanted to do with that pass, but sometimes it just doesn't work. But as a coach, you can't criticize guys for trying to make the right play.
Well, as you said, your team's had a lot of turnovers when you were pushing the ball and getting a lot of points as part of the game.
Yep, you need to be aggressive. With aggressiveness comes turnovers.
Here's Pinkston. Pinkston defended by Fortune. And the rebound by Cotton.
Yeah, that's Villanova's edge right there with Pinkston. They'd like to post him up on that elbow area.
Winding down to 6 minutes remaining in the first half. Cotton still only 2 points.
Yeah, Chenault's back in the game on him, and I think he's really bothering Cotton. He's doing a great job.
And Cotton driving baseline against Hilliard. Here comes the 3, and it's an air ball by Harris, but there's Batts, and it's knocked away by Ennis. Picked up by Cotton, and Cotton has an open shot. DeRozier crashing the boards. And now here's Harris again. Who's going to finally get it? Cotton once again inside, scoops it and misses, and finally Villanova comes down with it.
Yeah, but I think that's a great possession for Providence. Even though they didn't score, they just dominated right there. And, you know, Cotton's not going to miss those shots as the game goes on.
And the turnaround basket by Daniel Oshefu, the sophomore from Baltimore, who's averaging nearly 8 a game in the Big East.
I'm not sure Sheffield could do that early in the year. They've worked really hard. He's worked really hard to get to where he can make that post move.
Had his first double-double a couple of games ago against Seton Hall. Hilliard trying to deny Harris. And they're going to call the foul on Oshefu against DeRozier. And that will be the second on Oshefu.
Yeah, nowadays in college basketball, unfortunately, that foul gets called. I don't like that call. I can understand on the dribble, not being able to hand check the dribble, because that's a tremendous advantage for the defense. But right there, just trying to play aggressively, didn't cause any harm, but got called for the foul.
DeRozier goes out, and Lee Goldsboro, a senior from Newcastle, England, who has only 2 baskets this year, and so I think they want him as a presence.
Yeah, I'm just checking my scouting report. I didn't see that one.
Cotton misses from outside. You know, if you would have recruited some of those guys, you might have had success at Maryland.
Good point. I'll remember that next time.
So there's going to be a next time.
No, I doubt that. Now, right here, Villanova has gotten themselves right back into the game, and it's amazing to see the score at 24-22. It looks like the score should be in the 30s. You're allowed to do that. That's not backcourt.
Archie Diacomo hasn't scored yet.
Interesting that both point guards have really been taken out of the game so far.
Bell getting it down low. Pinkston against Goldsboro. And Goldsboro committing the foul. That's why he's in there for foul purposes.
Jay Wright with a great move, though. Saw the new guy in there, and he said, let's get the ball inside, see if he can play defense. And really, with a guy like Bell, that's like having a power forward, even though he's kind of a guard. All Pinkston, all those guys can post up, and it's a tremendous advantage for Villanova. It gives them versatility in their offense, and they try to overcome their lack of size by posting up their 6'5", 6'6" players.
And Hart coming back in for Hilliard, and of course Villanova delighted that Pinkston, recovering from that staph infection that he needed surgery in August, he has scored in double figures in all but one Big East game.
Well, Villanova's a good free throw shooting team. It's a little surprising to see some missed free throws here.
Cotton again has not been dominant, although he has been a decent playmaker, a couple of key rebounds, looking to get on track scoring-wise.
Interesting, when Cotton runs a screen and roll, they're switching, so a big man takes Cotton. He hasn't been able to score on the big man. Now they're back with Chenal playing, and they're playing him straight up right now.
And Batts is fouled by Bell. So Batts fouled by Bell. That is the 7th team foul against Villanova. They're in the Providence is in the bonus. We'll take a timeout. The lead at one point was 9. It's 1 for the Friars. East standings. Creighton with a half-game lead. They have the tiebreaker, having beaten Villanova twice. But look at the big group of teams: Xavier, Marquette, Providence, St. John's.
Yeah, this is what's going to happen now the rest of the way. Those teams, those 4 teams in that mix, they're going to decide for themselves who makes the NCAA tournament. And I think games like this are important. And you say, well, we don't want to talk about the NCAA tournament. Every player on the court is thinking that. Now, Villanova and Creighton, they're there. They're worried about seeding more than anything else right now. But those other 4 teams, they have to prove that they're tournament worthy. And that's why this is really important for Providence tonight.
Villanova has outscored Providence 10-2 since LaDontae Henton went out with his second foul. And here is Batts, who is 1 for 2, and he has taken home the only free throws for Providence thus far. No one else but Batts has taken them. He's now 2 for 3.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is they got to go back inside. They got away from that a little bit. They did get fouled here by going inside, and you know that's where they opened up the game, by going inside and getting the lead on Villanova.
So Batts the only Providence player to get to the line in this first half with just under 4 minutes to go. Of course, Providence in the bonus now. Lead is 3.
Right here, this is a great point guard matchup right here. These 2 guys are playing great defense on each other, Chenal and Cotton.
And here's Bell. Batts won't let Bell go anywhere with it. Here is Ennis. And Hart, this is the 3 from the corner, trying to save it as Batts. And it'll be Villanova's possession as they'll bring Arcidiacono and Hilliard back in.
To me, that's Villanova's best offense. Dribble penetration, if you help, kick it for the 3. If you don't help, good enough athletes, they can finish at the rim. So it's really tough to stop.
Do you bring back Henton before the end of the half, Gary?
Not unless you have to, unless somebody, unless there's a run. I'll try to keep him out if you can.
Inside, Pinkston. Look, Jay Vaughn Pinkston, the 6'7" junior from Brooklyn, 5th in the Big East, nearly 52% field goal percentage.
He's accepting his role as an inside player tonight, which is really good because he's giving them a way to score in there, which Villanova struggles with sometimes.
Batts misses after the good feed by Goldsboro inside. Arcidiacono penetrating. Good ball movement here. Hilliard open for 3, and he almost had it in and out. So Providence still has the lead by 1.
I think that's a great look for Villanova, though, in transition. You get Hilliard that look, he's going to make it most of the time.
Fortune guarded by Hart, and he hits a 3.
Wow.
Fortune with his 3rd three-point basket here in the first half. Has 13 points.
And that's what it takes. It takes somebody to make up for Cotton. If Providence can get through this half with Cotton not scoring because the other guys are stepping up, that's almost a victory for Providence going into halftime.
Cotton is 1 for 6 with 4 assists. Arcidiacono way off. So here's Cotton 1 for 6, and Providence has had the lead most of the way. They're up by 4 right now, and Fortune has filled the bill for them.
Yep. One of the things that Cotton has to realize is this might not be his half, and for a guy that scores as many points, he's really unselfish. He does a good job of that.
He'll get the rebounds for you, assists. Here's Batts going in, and they're going to call the reach-in foul against Villanova, and Providence will shoot 1-1.
Right here, Fortune knows he's open. He wants the ball, and Cotton had his head up, and he saw him, and he got him the ball in time where he could make a move. Now, what I like about that three, it was off the dribble. A lot of guys can catch and shoot, but Fortune, obviously, he's got that little shot fake, and then he can put it on the floor and make the three.
Foul was against Hart, his second. And here is Batts. This is the front end of the 1-and-1.
Got to make free throws. Got to make free throws in close games. Screen and roll. Villanova does a good job of helping.
They get it down low. Pinkston goes out to Archie Diacomo, looking to get on track, and Mia there, a three for Archie Diacomo, his first points of the game, and now again Providence lead is down to 1.
And that's big for Archie Diacomo because he's really struggling tonight with his shot, not really getting a lot of looks, and to make that one, and that was a great pass from Pinkston to give him a look.
And inside, Harris lays it in, and was Fortune that got him the ball with a nifty pass.
Once you start making threes, they have to go out and play you. Now your passing lane's a lot easier because the defense is up on you, and you can throw it in there when you're open.
I mentioned Archie Diacomo. He was 4 for 4 from threes against DePaul, and finally hit one there. And now we'll call a Providence foul. And for Providence, the bonus situation is in effect for Villanova as Chenault replaces Hilliard, and Archie Diacono will go to the line.
And that's the rule change, that call right there. You put a hand on the guy dribbling, and that's a foul. Where last year, it's just a hand check. It's not a foul. And all the players know it by now. The coaches know it by now, and the referees are doing a good job with it.
And he makes the first. Well, Sunday, the Daytona 500 returns to Fox as the world's best drivers compete in the Great American Race. Speed Weeks continues on Fox Sports 1 all week, leading up to the Daytona 500 Sunday at noon Eastern, only on Fox. So Archie Diacono, sophomore from Langhorne, PA. This is his 60th straight start. Started game 1 as a freshman and comfortable in the point position for Villanova.
Really, and I think at the end of the game, Jay Wright really likes him out there on the court because he doesn't make mistakes down the stretch. Pressure from Villanova, trying to get a cheap steal, but also trying to get Providence out of their offense because they went inside the last couple times.
Nearly 40 seconds remaining. Here's Batts against Bell.
See, that was really good play because they switched and they took advantage of the switch. Cotton got the ball inside to the mismatch. So they just have to make that shot.
And now, practically playing for the last shot of the half, Villanova, and looking to take the lead if they can at intermission after trailing by 9.
This would be where Villanova was early. If you can go in trailing by 1 or up by 1 or 2, you've done a great job this half.
And here is Chenault, under 10 seconds on the clock. And here's Archie Diacomo for a three, and he hits his second three with 4.5 and a timeout called by Ed Cooley. And Villanova regains the lead, their first lead since 11-9. It's 33-31 Wildcats.
It's amazing with players, when they finally make a shot, they usually make their next shot. They haven't scored the whole half. Make the first one, then they make the next one they take. And it's just a confidence thing. Here he is, you know, in this situation. This is a hard shot because going to your left with a defensive player hanging right on your right shoulder, you feel the defensive player. You feel him there, and you still have to concentrate and make that shot. Now, Villanova could have done a better job, or Providence could have done a better job of flying at the shooter. They gave both guys there stayed on the floor and gave him a wide open look at the rim.
LaDontae Henton has come back into the game with 4.5, figuring that he won't be on the defensive end in jeopardy of picking up the third foul, and he'll inbound the ball.
Yeah, it's a little scary because you could get a charge or something like that, but he's a great shooter. They need him out there. You know, hopefully he'll get a look. Villanova staying aggressive with the pressure.
And a trap on Cotton, and the foul is made. So a little bit too aggressive, and Chris Jenkins and Ennis were trapping, and Jay Wright can't be happy at all because Providence can get 2 points here in the final second.
Right here, this might be an offensive foul right there with a hook on the back of the Villanova player, but it was called on the Villanova player.
So it's on Ennis, Dylan Ennis, the younger brother or older brother, I should say, of Tyler Ennis, the sensational rookie guard for Syracuse.
Jay's saying call the first one, which might have been an offensive foul on Cotton, and then his man gets the call. Now, he's gotten the attention of the referee. Referees don't like it when you go cross-court at them. It's like cross-court passes are bad. Yelling at a referee at cross-court's bad. They don't mind you if you're by the bench.
Well,
you can talk.
That was choreography that you really were good at.
I was good at going cross-court, which was not good overall.
Yeah. Cotton making the free throw, and now can tie the score with 1.3. And for your information, Hinton is going out of the game. They don't want to have anything funny happen on defense.
This is interesting over here. The referee's changed position. The referee that made the call is over with Jay right now.
Talking about that last foul.
And they're having a very cordial discussion about the last foul.
Yes. Cotton hits them both. Tied at 33. 1.3. So Cotton with 4 points, but has 5 assists. So as Gary pointed out, does a lot of other things if he can't score.
This is interesting because it's a gamble.
And Bats had a hand on it, and that'll do it. All tied. Villanova fighting back. They were down by 9 after Hinton picked up his second foul. Villanova took a lead, and Providence and Villanova, to no one's surprise, tied at 33 in this critical game.
Now Jay Wright's, making his point again over there at halftime.
Robin Austin will take it away after the break. An important game between Providence and Villanova tonight, and we're all even at 33 going into the second half of this game. And Gary, I want to ask you, what is the 1 point for each team that you think they need to do to emerge victorious?
Well, Villanova started to do it as the half went on, and they scored better. They started posting up Pinkston. In other words, when he gets the ball in that foul line area, that's basically a post-up position, and he's really tough because he weighs 240 pounds. On the other end, what Providence has to do when they play their best offensively is get the ball inside. Cotton's a little off right now, but he is able to pass the ball in, and they do have an advantage with their inside players.
Here are the halftime statistics, and it shows how even really this game is. Nova does have an edge in second chance points. Leading scorer for Villanova, James Bell, has 11 points, but he has 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and has hit 2 threes. He's been big. And how about Josh Fortune with 13 points, hitting 3 threes, really taking a lot of the heat off of Bryce Cotton, who's only 1 for 6.
That really helped Providence because Cotton's not having a normal half, and to be able to get threes from another player is really important for Providence.
Here's Bell, who's guarded by Harris. And they're working on Hinton right away. Pinkston over Hinton. Hinton does a good job defensively. And Providence fighting for it. Providence has the possession arrow.
Yeah, they came right out at Pinkston. I think they felt that they had a matchup situation there that they liked, but Providence did a good job defensively. Right there in that jump ball, this early in the half, you don't want to call timeout and use one of your timeouts. You want to, okay, it's their ball, fine. Give them the ball and save your timeouts for later in the half.
See if Cotton can get unleashed in this second half. Bell all over Harris. Plenty of time.
This is an offensive set that Al Skinner used to run all the time at Boston College, a very tight flex.
And the turnover, Providence will turn it over back to Villanova.
Yeah, interesting. Both teams basically, they're just feeling each other out. It's like two fighters. Neither one of them did much offensively there, and it's you got to get back to where you were playing at the end of the half, and sometimes that's tough to do to start the second half.
Arcidiacono hitting a couple of threes late in the half, and let's see if that's a forerunner for a good game for him in the second half in that realm.
Right here.
Arcidiacono. And it falls off the offensive rebound. And it'll go over to Providence. Oh, Shefu couldn't control it. And Jay Wright says, wait a second, what happened there?
Yeah, Jay's wondering how he wound up falling out of bounds when he came down on the court.
How does that happen?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
How does that happen, Gary?
It just happens sometimes. Sometimes you hit a bad board and it just knocks you out of bounds.
Only in Atlantic City.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's Fortune. Outstanding first half. Hinton off on the three-point attempt. Offensive rebound and a foul. So an offensive rebound by Cotton. Oh, check that. That's Harris, and the foul is called.
Now, Jay Wright's saying, well, that's what happened down here when my man went flying out of bounds. You called it here, how come you didn't call it down there? And that's what coaches do. You know, you say, just call the same thing at each end.
So no foul on that play. There you see a foot out of bounds. Here's Bell. Cotton. Boy, Cotton did a good job going up in the air against Sheffield, didn't he?
He certainly, Cotton obviously has no fear when he plays. He goes after it, whether it's a rebound, dribbling the ball, whatever. Cotton
working in and gets the foul. What a smart move by Bryce Cotton, going against bigger people and drawing the foul. And the foul is against Hilliard, his second personal.
Yeah, I really like what Cotton did there. And this is an amazing turn in the corner here. And when you're a scorer, if you can get to the foul line and you've been struggling shooting the ball, you're a good foul shooter. This should break the ice for you. In other words, get a couple cheap ones on the line, and now you settle down, you make your jump shot. And I think that might be a key play for Cotton for the rest of the game.
Chenault replacing Zoshefu, so Jay Wright goes small again here with less than 2 minutes gone by in the second half. By the way, Fortune and Cotton, the starting guards for Providence, played the entire 20 minutes in that first half. No surprise there.
I'll tell you, that's amazing how they do that, but they must be in great physical condition, number one. And number two, they know they can do it now because they've done it before.
So Providence beat Creighton handily, up by 20 at one point, winning wire to wire on this floor, so they can do it against anybody. Here's Bell driving in, and they're going to call the foul against Providence on the pass when Bell was passing. And it's Henton, it'll be number 3 on Henton.
Yeah, that's big. They almost have to take him out now, getting a 3 this early.
And the preliminary call is on Harris here. Call is on Harris at this point. Diacomo, Archie Diacomo hitting a 3, getting hot. He was 4 for 4 against DePaul, and he's hit 3 quickly.
They've been tough shots. They haven't been easy shots. It's not like he's wide open when he makes them.
And they'll call Chenault for Villanova with the personal.
Chenault's doing a great job playing head-to-head against Cotton. He really is working hard and maintaining great position. He's not giving any angles to Cotton, and Cotton beats most people to the basket that he plays against.
Great story for Chenault. Transferred from Wake Forest because his mom was ill in Philadelphia. Mom ultimately passed away. He's had some really tough personal issues to deal with. And there they're going to call Chenault with another foul over Batts. 2 quick ones.
You know, maybe Providence picked this up at halftime. Villanova is switching right here. You'll see the switch. Big goes on Cotton, so the little Chenault has to guard the big guy. And if you identify that as a guard and you're good enough, you can get the ball into that mismatch.
So Chenault goes out with his second foul. He hasn't scored tonight, but has been a big factor defensively, and Josh Hart replaces him.
Yeah, now they come in with a great athlete in Hart and a little bigger player than Chenault, but I really like the way Chenault has managed to stay in front of Cotton tonight. He's done a great job with that.
Kind of like Jay Wright's manner with his players.
Yeah, I think they have a good relationship. You know, just watching his team play, and what I really like about Jay Wright, he can keep his coat button the whole game. Very few coaches can do that.
How about as a broadcaster? You don't have to do that here.
That's right.
Here's Cotton. Fortune passing inside, double team, and losing it out of bounds was Harris.
Yeah, Providence has come out a little shaky here with the offense. Oh yeah, he noticed that he had a button on button, and he took advantage of the break and play to button.
But when we saw him in the locker room, he didn't even have to jack it on.
I know.
I was surprised.
He dresses up for these games. These are big games.
And a turnover at the other end. So 7 turnovers against Providence, 7 against Villanova. They're even.
Yeah, this has been choppy to start the second half. It hasn't been as good basketball.
So these coaches are not buttoned up, are they, as a result of this?
Some of them are.
Yeah. Not a good response by you, I would say. Batts gets fouled on the good pass inside. They had to make a lightning pass baseline to him, and he'll go to the line.
See, when you have a player like Bax, you take advantage of that. Like, he's a much more skilled player than anybody Villanova could put on him, and he's big and strong. So you have to come down looking for that and basically play inside out. In other words, every time you're in your half-court set, look inside first. You can still go to a screen and roll. You can still take the three, but look inside first.
Foul is on Harden's third. How about that pass?
Yeah, that was a great pass.
That was like a corner kick in soccer.
That was a bounce pass, which you don't see feeding the post very often anymore.
You had to have some spin on that one.
Put the bowling spin on there.
And Bats makes both. Providence by 1. Bats now with 11 points. Fortune with 13 leads Providence. Arcidiacono and Bell each with 11 for Villanova. Good steal by Harris. He's got Fortune ahead of him. He'll take it himself, and it's batted away. Good defense inside, and Arcidiacono recovers. Great hustle and a 2-on-1, and Hilliard to Pinkston for the basket. How quick was that?
That was great, and it was unselfish. In other words, Hilliard could have shot that, but it would have been kind of a tough layup. Gave it up, so it had a wide open layup. That's great team play.
Seesaw game. You thought we were going to have a game like this, intense, spirited.
Yes, definitely.
And Cotton gets the basket.
That's incredible. I thought he got hit there for sure, but he made that shot, and he's got a great feel on the glass. That's part of his strength.
Only his second field goal of the game.
That's incredible. I mean, you know, you have to protect the shooter, especially when he's up in the air like that.
And a timeout called. Bryce Cotton, who moved past Ernie DiGregorio into 8th on Providence career scoring list on Saturday.
Ernie D, remember him well.
Great tradition, by the way, of Providence guards. Big time. Gary, in real time, your thoughts about Cotton's drive and basket here?
Well, it's a great move, but at the same time, you have to protect the shooter. When he's in the air like that, he's at mercy to the defense, and that's where he can get hurt. And here's Cotton. He plays 40 minutes a game, basically. He takes hits like that, and he's still able to play 40 minutes a game. That's just incredible.
And look at all the areas that he dominates in the Big East.
Well, I mean, the big thing is the points, but at the same time, when you can get 6 assists a game and score 21, you're really valuable because that means you're keeping the other players in the game. And he's a good enough three-point shooter where you have to come out and play him, and that opens things up for everyone else.
So Cotton now has 8 points. Fortune, who hasn't scored yet in the second half, that's 21 for the backcourt and 22 for Ryan Arcidiacono and James Bell.
Yeah, I thought it was big for Cotton to get to the foul line early in this half. It seemed to relax him a little bit, and he's looking more for a shot now.
Cotton guarding Hilliard. Fortune on Arcidiacono.
Here's the post-up action.
DeRozier, the shot blocker, in there, and they're going to call traveling. DeRozier, boy, I tell you, at his size of 7 foot from Windham, New Hampshire, looms large.
Yeah, sometimes the best fake is no fake. Instead of doing all this, just take your hop dribble into the lane and go up as hard as you can and make them cover you. You know, the defense got away without really having to play defense there.
Providence by 1. Hendon. And his turnover, steal. Arcidiacono winds up with it. In the corner is open, is Hilliard for 3, and he's got it. Yeah, Hilliard with his second 3.
Giacomo looked off of him, knew he was there, but wouldn't look at him till the defense shifted into the lane, and that's why Hilliard was so open from the corner.
Good ball movement team, Villanova.
Really look for each other.
Fortune has it knocked out of his hands, and Hilliard has it, so Villanova getting some turnovers here, leading by 2. Okay. Inside, out. Arcidiacono way off, but an offensive rebound by Pinkston, and he's fouled.
That was probably the best open look Giacomo had, and it was the worst shot he took. Okay. Here's Ed's reaction to a turnover, and I understand because he's, you know, and this is what happens on, these are bad turnovers. When the other team gets the ball in transition, you can't get back on defense.
Are you surprised though Sheffield didn't go up with it right there?
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to do? You know, just get it on the glass, and even if it doesn't go in, you got a shot at an offensive rebound in that situation.
Tyler Harris will check in for Fortune. Fortune had 13 at the half, still has 13, hit 3 big shots then. And Pinkston makes 1 out of 2. The lead is 3 for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Villanova struggling from the free throw line. That might catch up with them as this game goes on.
Bats can't stop that. Just rolled off for him.
That's incredible. That was great high-low action. Got everything they wanted out of that play.
Bell, the quick 3. Bats comes right back. Cotton, 3 on 3. Cotton will push it up from the lane. Boy, a lot of these shots just falling off, Gary.
It's amazing. They're getting the shots. You can't get better shots. For Cotton in transition to get that shot, for Bats to get basically a layup, and the ball just won't go down. But you have to stay with it. You have to be tough enough not to go away from that.
And Hilliard beating Daniel Oshefu for the basket, and Ed Cooley wants to talk it over. Villanova turning it on early here in the second half. And here it is, the largest lead for Villanova.
Yeah, this is just a great look. It gives you the chance to force help, and then you dunk it. 3 years, and McDermott's had 4, but he gives a really good example of how to play basketball whenever McDermott plays, because he's a good passer in addition to, and a rebounder. He does everything besides score the 39 like he did against Villanova.
Now you're down 5 if you're Providence. Biggest lead for Villanova, but you're not disturbed too much.
No, because you really did a good job the last 2 times of your offense in transition in half court. You had great looks. Can't get better looks. So you don't get away from what gave you those 2 looks. Just come right back, go inside, right here. Make sure that ball gets in there.
Hinton is looking in there for DeRozier, and knocking it away is Hilliard, and it's off of Cotton on the turnover. So Villanova playing aggressive, and Ed Cooley before the game said, we're going to have to show some attitude in this game.
Yeah, you can't let Villanova come in here and be more aggressive than you are, especially on your home court. You have to be the aggressive. But right there, I thought they had the post player open. You've got to throw it in there, and that's hard to teach to your players. That's not automatic from a lot of players.
Pick and roll. Oshefu gets it in, but Cotton steals it. Well, check that. Fortune gets the ball away into Cotton's hands.
See, right here, they need Cotton to do something. He's got to make a play.
And we'll have a Villanova foul as Bats was fouled. I was going to say that this is kind of at this stage, a good, important possession for the Friars.
It really is, and that's a veteran player, Bats, going against kind of a new player in Ochufu, because right here, you know, Bats does a good job of selling that, obviously, and that referee saw the reaction, and that was the call.
Oshefu with his 3rd foul. Hart has 4 for Villanova, and no one has 3 fouls for Providence.
And
they're going to bring Ennis back in, and he's going to go in for Pinkston. Pinkston goes out of the game, having scored 10.
Yeah, I like Pinkston. He's one of those tough guys that does a lot of things in addition to scoring.
Here is Cotton, and the foul, and Hinton commits his 3rd foul on Ryan Arcidiacono. So Hinton with his 3rd personal. He has not scored tonight and will go out replaced by Harris.
Providence has got to do something. They got to get this crowd back in the game. All of a sudden it's flat in here, and they need the crowd if they're going to win this game. And right there, if Cotton could have made that 3, that would have changed everything. So they got it. Providence got to hang through the stretch, and Villanova's got to feel right now that they can bust this thing open.
Arcidiacono wending his way through the defenses. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Bats picks him up. Here's Ennis. Bell for 3, short. Scramble, and DeRozier managed to control it into Fortune's hands. You're right, Providence has to, now the crowd is in it.
Yeah.
Let's see if the Friars respond with a basket. Here's Fortune for 3.
That's big. Good call by Dick Stockton. That was really important.
Fortune's 4th 3 of the game. Couldn't come in a better time, and the crowd really started it before he hit the 3, and it's a 2-point game.
Yeah, and it's right back to a 2-point game. It feels like Villanova's up 10.
Arcidiacono banks it in. So Ryan Arcidiacono now with 13 and a 4-point Villanova lead. Biggest lead in the game was Providence by 9 in the first half.
Yeah, they're switching everything on the perimeter now. They're going to try to get into a big player setting a screen in a screen and roll situation here and try to take advantage of the switch.
Providence ending the 3-game losing streak against DePaul, but they need this game against Villanova, the team that blew them out the first time. Cotton comes back with 3.
All right, now this is getting good. This is, you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. And I love it when two teams, the quality of these two teams start going after each other.
Arcidiacono comes right back.
Wow,
Heartbreaker.
This is getting, now see if Cotton comes back in him. This is getting really interesting here.
Remember, it wasn't a good guard game early on. It is now, though, right?
I take it all back.
No, you were right at the time. But it's changed.
It really has, and both players have confidence now.
And here is Cotton driving in, gets fouled, and will shoot 2. So Providence relying on Cotton, who has 11, Fortune with 16, hitting threes, and Arcidiacono getting baskets his last 2 times down the floor, including a 3. He has 16 points. Villanova still up by 4.
This month, GMC Sierra is going to work for you. Using new ideas and incredible thinking to bring you professional-grade engineering and higher standards. And now with 2 years of scheduled maintenance, February is a great time to step up to a new Sierra. Now through February 28th, use your 5188 President's Day discount to get a total value of up to $7,500 on this all-new specially equipped 2014 GMC Sierra.
Speed Weeks rolls on. Creighton battles Marquette. Then Arizona collides with Utah. Fox College Hoops tomorrow night. Part of Speed Weeks on Fox Sports 1. And don't miss the Daytona 5.
The big cable and phone companies are slowly digging ditches to bring you high-speed internet. And you're left to wait. Well, we're not waiting. We're taking technology to new heights. And not just for some, for everyone in every corner. Today's internet is not a luxury. It's a necessity. You can't wait for high-speed internet. And thanks to the world's fastest-growing network, you won't have to. The future can't wait. Welcome to the Ubiquity World Network.
Ronda Rousey represents history.
2 undefeated fighters.
2 unbeaten, fighting for the belt.
And Olympic medalists.
The first female to medal in judo in the Olympics. Sarah McMahon is a silver medal in Olympic wrestling.
Will battle for UFC gold.
She is the greatest women's fighter in the world.
Ronda Rousey.
On the job. Her skill is so good.
Sarah McMahon.
For the UFC Women's Bantamweight belt.
Reports of heart attack and death led the FDA to recall Granuflow concentrate and natural light liquid, which are commonly used drugs during dialysis. These products have been shown to increase levels of sodium bicarbonate in the blood, which can lead to heart attack and death. If you or a loved one suffered a heart attack or died after kidney dialysis treatment, you may be entitled to money damages. Call the Gold Shield Group at 1-800-574-1899 for a free consultation. That's 1-800-574-1899. 1-800-574-1899.
Channel.
Big East College Hoops is brought to you by New York Life. And time now for the Keep Good Going stat of the game presented by New York Life. Big East Naismith Trophy mid-season candidates, and 2 of them are in our game tonight.
Yeah, they're both great players. It's going to be tough for somebody to beat out McDermott for Player of the Year and the Naismith Award. He's just had a sensational year, and I kind of like a senior being that guy. I'm tired of really hearing about these great freshmen before they even play a game in college. How can you make a freshman first-team All-American preseason when he hasn't played a game in college yet?
Well, there's Bell and Cotton. Let me ask you about Providence. We know how important this game is. Why do you think that they all of a sudden turn it on with great flash in the last few minutes?
Yeah, they've finally gotten over the importance of the game. Sometimes you get a little tight when you realize if you win this game, this means a lot to us. It'll put us in good shape for the NCAA, all that stuff. You got to forget that and just play. And then Villanova had to get over the hangover from the Creighton game. And I think both teams now are going to play basketball. They're just going to go after each other, and they're 2 really good teams.
You never know that one team won by 30 the first time around, but that's what Villanova did. 13 for Cotton. He's 6 for 6 from the line and has 6 assists. And it's a 2-point Villanova lead nearly halfway through the second half. Pinkston setting the screen. No pick and roll there. Bell has it now. Bell driving baseline, sees room, and it's into the hands of Harris. DeRozier, another presence.
Yeah, that was a great move, and DeRozier went right after him. He didn't back off on the dunk attempt by Bell. Right here, see if they try to get Cotton more shots out of their offense.
Steal by Oshefu. DeRozier's there, and the foul in the basket. So DeRozier will pick up his 3rd foul, where it was no way you were going to stop the field goal by Oshefu.
I don't know if Oshefu knew how good this is, what he does here. I mean, he's 6'11", doing all this, dribbling the ball, and then he gets hit pretty good here, and it's like nobody touched him. He just went in and he dunked it going away from the basket. That's how high he was up. That's how big he is. He wasn't going toward the rim on that dunk.
So DeRozier going to the bench with his 3rd personal foul. And Oshefu, who is 0 for 2 from the free throw line thus far. And a 3-point play the old-fashioned way by Daniel Oshefu, and Villanova again matches their biggest lead of the game, up by 5.
And you can see the ceiling that Oshefu hasn't reached yet. It's just incredible. Now, really sloppy on the perimeter the last 2 times down for Providence. They're throwing the passes across the top of the circle, and Villanova's doing a great job of reading the pass and trying to get that passing lane. And that was Oshefu getting the dunk, and then right there, that was almost another breakaway.
Next foul against the Wildcats will put Providence in the bonus, and Pinkston will come in for Oshefu, and for Providence, they have Cotton and Fortune in the backcourt, and they have combined for 29 points thus far. Hinton facing the basket. Going baseline, tough play by Hinton. And Pinkston gets it in the hands of Archie Diacono.
When Sheffield goes out, I think Providence has got to go inside right away with the post-up move, especially the Bats. I don't think there's anybody out there who can really control Bats in this situation.
Pinkston with a turnaround gets the foul, and Bats committing the personal foul will send Pinkston to the line.
And see, it doesn't matter how big you are in there. You're a post player. You can make these moves at 6'6" or at 6'10". It doesn't matter. That's really hard to guard, even though Bats is a lot bigger than Pinkston.
That's been their story on free throws. Most of them have gone off as Oshefu comes back.
Yeah, free throws are going to be big down the stretch here, obviously. But when you got the lead, you have to make free throws. Any close game, you're going to have to make free throws at the end of the game. And Villanova has not shot them well so
7
far
for 14. Only 50%, Coach.
Yep, that's right here, the screen and roll.
Hilliard all the way in. Harris and Bats both there, looming large. And the ruling, it'll be Providence ball, last touched by Villanova.
Yeah, an official like Eddie Corbett, that was right in front of Jay Wright's bench. Jay knows Eddie Corbett's going to give him the right call on that play. He just does a great job.
Biggest lead right now is 6 points as Ennis is going to check back in.
Now they got Oshefu back in the game to try to control Bats in this situation. But I'd still try to go inside, just to try to play inside out here, get the ball inside, then get Cotton going on the perimeter and see if he can do something.
Providence right now has 3 players of double figures.
I wonder why Pinkston went out. I think he's cut, and you can't, you know, a football player can have blood all over his uniform, but he's allowed to play. A basketball player gets nicked, and he's got a little scratch cut, he can't play.
Well, if a football player has it on his hands or whatever, but uniform is all right.
Is that all right,
yeah.
Uniform? Okay.
I think. Yeah, uniform is all right. And they're working.
It's a free timeout right here.
It is. Jay Rice taking advantage of it.
Oh, yeah.
Pinkston's all right, coming back in. They've made the necessary repairs, and it was an eye cut under the eye.
Yeah, Les Jones came over and let us know that Pinkston got cut in the eye, and you know that happens, and it's nothing intentional at all about it. You just get hit, you know, once in a while, and that's the way it goes.
9 minutes remaining.
Okay, screen and roll for Cotton right here. See if Villanova switches it. Now they got the mismatch inside. They get it inside, and Bats finishes. Oh.
And the basket counts, and the foul.
I don't think they counted it.
No foul before the shot.
Yeah, that hurt. That was a perfect play. See, they're reading Villanova's switch now, and Cotton's smart enough to see the switch. He gets the big guy on him so that he knows Bats will be open inside.
Bell committing his third, and so here's Bats at the free throw line.
They're in the 1-on-1 already with 8:53 left.
And he makes the first. 6 of 8 from the line. By the way, Providence has committed 5 team fouls. Ennis goes out, and Archie Diacono comes back in.
Yeah, I think they need Archie Diacono on the court because he's hot right now. You don't want to break the rhythm up of a shooter, and so you got to get him out there so he keeps warm.
2 free throws by Kadeem Bats, who has 13 points. Fortune with 16, the leading scorer. Bats 13. Cotton has also 13 points.
Yeah. Looking to spread out a little bit here, just trying to create some driving lanes with a little motion.
Lead is 4. Moments ago it was 6, which is Villanova's biggest of the game. Here's Bell missing the 3, but Pinkston is there to put back.
Pinkston's amazing. He's they say he's 6'6". That might be 6'5" we're looking at. I'm not sure it's 6'6", but he plays a lot bigger than that, and that's what counts.
Big shoulders, big
can't
body.
measure his heart either. He's just got a great heart.
Here's Cotton finding an opening, and he lays it in. So Cotton now with 15 points, and Providence hanging in there down by 4 as we wind down to 8 minutes to go in the game.
Ed Cooley took his coat off and he got emotional. Ed's a pretty calm guy on the sideline, but right here he needs stops, and he's telling his guys they can play better defense, and I really like that. Ed just does a great job with his team.
Trying to bring Providence back into the big picture nationally in an NCAA tournament bid.
They win this game, they're back in the picture nationally.
No question
without a
about
doubt.
it. And there is Bell inside, and it falls off, and Hinton and Bell go after it along with Bats. And the call is...
I thought Bell might have gotten away with going over the back there on the rebound, but I've been wrong before.
Timeout. Boy, Bats hustles all over the floor. All over the floor. Fox Sports 1. Game summary. Archie Diacono has 8 in each half. 8-point advantage in the paint for Villanova. Bryce Cotton, slow start, has 15 now, but they're turning it over too much.
Yeah, the guard-to-guard pass is the one that Villanova's really looking for, and they've gotten about 3 of them already in this half. They got to put that away and don't try to swing the ball as quickly side to side. Get the ball to the wing, run screen and rolls, and they'll be okay.
Providence 12-2 at home this year, 5-2 in the Big East. And they've beaten Creighton, Xavier, and Georgetown. Losses were to Seton Hall and St. John's. But this is the game that's in front of Ed Cooley right now.
That win over Creighton could be big at the end of the year, because one of the things the NCAA committee is supposed to do is look at the whole year, not just look at the last 3 weeks of the season. But you know how that goes sometimes. Human nature is what just happened. What happened recently is what I remember. So this is big for Providence tonight.
But for St. John's, they've done both. They've beaten Creighton late, and they played hot late.
So
they're up
St.
next.
John's is as hot as anybody in the country right now.
No question about it. Hilliard and Chenault. It's Hilliard guarded by Cotton.
Cotton really works defensively. For a guy that scores a lot of points, he gives it to you on the other end of the floor, too.
Archie Diacono, and good defense by Cotton on him for the 3. And here's a 3 in and out by Hilliard. Loose ball, and it comes out to Villanova again. Archie Diacono in rhythm.
Wow.
And they're going to call the foul against Villanova. And it's Pinkston, I believe it is, with a personal foul.
One thing I forget about Pinkston, he weighs 240 pounds. So when he hits you, you're hit, and you give up the ball. And I love the way he plays. He uses his size. And see, right here, you'll see some sweat flying on this rebound. I mean, those guys are all going after it. It's just great to see because they both want this game.
7 for 9 from the line is Bats. And Bell will come in for Chenal. So now Villanova goes bigger.
Right, and it'll be interesting to see if this free throw shooting hurts Villanova down the stretch. They're 7 for 14 right now, and Providence is making their free throws. So if Providence goes inside with the ball, that's where you get fouled, and that's why they have to keep looking inside first.
15 for 17 is Providence from the line, so there's the disparity there, Gary.
You make up a lot of turnovers and things like that when there's that much difference in the free throws.
2-point game. And a whistle. We have a wet spot on the floor.
I mean, okay, you don't want anybody to get hurt, but you just took the crowd right out of the game, you know, with a wet spot.
Yes, they did.
Great job by the wet spot.
Right. Now, does the crowd, how quickly does the crowd get big?
They're coming back.
They're smart.
Yeah, the one thing about Providence, these people know basketball.
Oh, do they ever? What a history.
What a tradition that they have.
And here is Hilliard. Oh, Shefu setting the screen, now has it. Hilliard.
Yeah.
Hilliard in the lane. 7 on the shot clock. Oh, Shefu goes up with it. Tip, miss, and Cotton.
Great defense.
Oh,
great effort on the defensive end by Providence.
They made Villanova work, and they came up empty. And now, Providence looking to at least tie the game, maybe take the lead if they get a 3. And Fortune throws it away. Errant pass, and Bell on the fast break with Cotton back, and Bell lays it in. He had the smaller Cotton, and he lays it in and has 13.
That's why Providence can't turn the ball over. Villanova's getting all their transition out of turnovers. They're not getting them off of rebounds, defensive rebounds. They're getting them off of turnovers.
And our last summer, you saw the turnovers for Villanova or Providence in the second half. Hinton misses with a 3 and only blue shirts underneath for the rebound.
Yeah, to me, that's not the shot you want there. You want to go inside, take advantage of your free throw advantage, take advantage of your size. And, you know, when you're down 4, you can't make too many more mistakes like that offensively.
So Villanova with a 4-point lead. And here is the 3 by Bell. Rebound Hinton. Well, Cotton not only has no fear, he has no fatigue.
Yeah, they wind him up, I think, before the game. He's amazing.
There's Cotton, short with it, falls right into the hands of Bell.
I thought he might have gotten hit on the follow-through. A shooter needs to come through with a hand over the top, and I don't know if Cotton could do that on that play.
Providence missing a couple of opportunities, one on a turnover, a couple of missed shots. Arcidiacono.
Yeah.
Bell picked up by Hinton. We've seen this play before. Pinkston going up, basket. Pinkston, strong.
They're posting him up, and he's as good at, I mean, it's a way to score. And a lot of teams don't take advantage of all their ways to score. That's a great way to score for Villanova, to post Pinkston up.
He has 14 points. The leading scorer is Arcidiacono as Ed Cooley calls a timeout. It's a 6-point lead, and a big turnover really led to Villanova having the lead at arm's length.
Yeah, this was a pass where he threw it to where he thought the guy would be, and you can't do that. You got to make sure you have him. And now this is where you run. You run off of turnovers. There's bad transition defense here, and when Bell gets going with a full head of steam, you got to get out of the way because he's going to hurt you if he gets a piece of you.
Gary, let's take a look at Providence's attorney resume, and they're ahead in the Big East. They beat Creighton and Xavier. We talked about 57 in the RPI. They have Butler Sunday. 3 of their last 4 games will be on the road. Their one home game against Marquette, so their business is not done yet. They've got to play some tough road games, but this is a huge home game.
Yeah, tonight's huge, obviously, and then with wins at Creighton and Xavier, if you can win on the road, they mean more than winning at home. Not tonight because Villanova's a ranked team, but against a normal team that you're playing, a win on the road's big, and you know, hopefully, and they've been a good road team so far this year, so see what happens.
Villanova moving to 9th after their loss to Creighton. 3 losses for Villanova, 2 by Creighton in blowouts and 1 to Syracuse where they had a big lead. Here's Cotton with a looper and the tip inside by Harris, and he gets the foul as well. Great relentless play by the sophomore from Dix Hills, New York, Tyler Harris.
Yeah, Tyler Harris, I think, thinks of himself as a shooter, and I'm sure Ed Cooley is trying to get him to do this more. In other words, his man leaves to help. He's wide open to go in for the rebound. A great rebound, and then strong enough to finish. And he'll weigh 20 pounds more next year, his junior year. He's just starting to fill out like his brother, who's a very good professional
Now,
player.
Josh Hart has fouled out of the game, having scored 2 points. So Hart is out, and a very important guy off the bench as far as rebounding and scoring. But Tyler Harris, interesting, only 1 for 9 from the field the first time these teams played, had 5 points. But Tyler Harris tonight has 9 on 4 of 9 shooting.
And you know what? You can see him growing up as the years going on. He's getting more confident. Plays like that, he probably wouldn't stick his nose in there that much early in the year, and now he knows that he can go in there, do that, take the hit, make the score. And you got to add your game all the time. You can't just be a shooter. You can't just be an inside player if you're Harris's size.
Makes the free throws, and
Here's
it's
the crowd.
59-56. The crowd on its feet now, Gary.
Oh, yeah, and they get it. They know how big this stop is right here.
3-point lead. Winding down 4 minutes remaining in regulation. Hilliard, stop and go. And they're going to call the foul. Bats inside, and that would be the 16th foul against Providence.
What bothers Ed Cooley is not so much what the call was, but when the call was made. It was made way after the play was over.
In Providence.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. Villanova leading by 3, and some head scratching over that last foul called against Bats.
Yeah, I was just watching Ed Cooley's reaction, and here it is. It's a drive, and Bats goes up, and there's some contact chest to chest there, but nothing on the shot. Nothing's called now. The baseline official makes the call as the ball is rebounded, and I thought it was on the rebound, but it's not. It's on this play right there, and it was really late, and I think that's what has Ed Cooley scratching his head.
And a big story of this game, and it wasn't a foul, says Ed Cooley. So now Hilliard is on the line, and this has been the problem for Villanova. They are 7 for 14, but outscored by 9 at the free throw line, because Providence 16 of 18. Hilliard's first try at the line is successful.
That stroke looked good. It looked like a very relaxed stroke right there. But, you know, instead of being, you know, Providence with the ball 3 down, they could get the ball 5 down here. And that's a big difference with a little over 3 minutes left in the game.
Hilliard hits them both, and the lead is 5. Villanova's largest margin was 6. Next foul, by the way, against Villanova will be the double bonus for Providence.
Yeah, now see what they do for Cotton here. They give him a high screen, and they're hoping there's a switch there where they can get the ball inside. And there is a switch, and they didn't find it.
Plenty of time on the clock. Cotton now
They
going
found it
inside,
that time.
and they go in and they miss the shot. So Kadeem Bats.
There's been 3 or 4 plays this half where Providence has done exactly what they're supposed to do, but they haven't put the ball in the basket. And, you know, there's nothing you can do about that as a coach.
That happened early in a flurry for several moments in this second half. So now Villanova is in a position leading by 5 as we wind down to 3 minutes to go in the second half. That's crucial possession for them here.
Now you can't get tentative and wind up shooting a tough shot as the shot clock comes down. You've
5 seconds on the shot clock.
Here it is. So
Hilliard walked.
the only thing I don't like about that, when you pull the ball out this early with still almost 3 minutes left, you get tentative, and all of a sudden you have to shoot the ball now because the shot clock is down, and that's a bad turnover. Villanova didn't need to do that.
Can Providence come back and rally at home before this big crowd and pull off the upset? And the foul is called against Arcidiacono, and that is the 10th foul and the double bonus now for Providence.
You really talk about this with your team a lot. You do not want to let Providence score points with a shot with the clock not running. And anytime you commit a foul like that off the ball, you're giving them 2 when it's a player like Cotton going to the line in a 2-shot situation.
Jay Wright calling a timeout. Now he has a bone to pick with the officials. So Arcidiacono will committing the foul, and time now for the Land Rover player of the game, Ryan Arcidiacono.
Well, his shots that he made late in the first half got Providence to a tie at halftime, and then he picked up from there. They gave Arcidiacono confidence in the second half that he could score. Right there, he did commit a foul that you don't need to commit in that situation. And he told Jay Wright, watched him go over to the bench, that Cotton had grabbed him. That's what caused the foul, and that happens sometimes.
So Bryce Cotton, who played 38 minutes in the first game against Villanova, then 10 straight without leaving the court. Streak ended last game against DePaul when he was taken out for a curtain call in the final moment. He's played the whole way, and this is his first miss after making 6.
Yeah, you don't need misses here, especially from this guy. And believe me, this has nothing to do with choking. This is just a miss. It happens sometimes. You shoot 84%. You know, you
missed them both.
Missed them both. I would never have believed that, but at the same time, you can't get down there. There's still plenty of time. You got to play.
But it's a theme here. Missing shots, can't get down. Now missing free throws, can't get down.
That's right.
Hilliard with a great move to Oshefu, out of bounds, and last touched by Providence.
Yeah, that was a great play. The defensive player, when you help up on the dribbler, you leave the baseline player that you were guarding open, and Villanova found and made a great pass right there.
Kadeem Batts with a good defensive play now. Hinton is on Oshefu and a steal by Harris. He's got Cotton with him, but he'll take it himself, and it's blocked, taken down. Cotton for 3, way off. Rush that shot, and Villanova gets it back. It looked like Providence wanted to get 3 in a hurry.
I'll tell you what, Bell got a piece of that right as Cotton released it, and Cotton's got you got a pump fake right there. You got a shot fake, let him fly by you, and then you have the 3 or the drive for the basket.
Cotton is 4 for 13 from the field. Now we have minute 55 to go. 5-point Villanova lead.
You don't have to foul here if you're Providence. You don't want to foul now because the shot clock's down to 5. You just play good, solid defense.
Oshefu misses the bank in, and Batts gets the rebound. So here comes Providence, down by 5. They don't need a 3 here either. The drive by Harris gets the basket, and a big basket cutting the lead to 3.
Okay, now right here, you still don't have to foul. You just play good, solid defense, minute and 30. There's plenty of time. And then the players for Providence have to be tough enough to see that shot clock at 10. You can't foul then. You can't take them off the hook. You got to put Villanova in a situation where they're taking a pressure shot as the shot clock runs down.
Bring up to date on the scoring, as Fortune has 16. He's been quiet lately. Cotton and Batts 15, and Harris with 12. Arcidiacono has 16, and Pinkston 14. Bell 13 for Villanova in a 3-point game with a minute and a half to play, and Providence with only 1 timeout left.
Now, if I'm Villanova, I'm going to try to get the ball to Pinkston somewhere in that 12-foot area where he can post up and take his man to the basket. He's really tough to cover. And if I'm Villanova, I'm not wasting a lot of time. In other words, I know you want to run some clock and all that, but I want the shot going. I don't want 5 seconds left on the shot clock while I'm taking the shot, because those percentages go way down when the shot clock comes down.
Next Providence foul will put Villanova in the bonus. Providence already enjoying the double bonus, and Hilliard will inbound for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Providence in full court pressure, looking to trap. I guess not. They're just playing straight man-to-man here.
Chenault defended by Fortune. Under a minute and a half to go. Now, every possession huge now, right?
Right, and now when Chenault gives it up, you got to get way away from him. He hasn't taken a jump shot tonight, and he probably won't shoot the ball in this situation. You got to help down on Pinkston off of Chenault in this situation. Now, see right there.
Arcidiacono.
You hate to say it, but the call that was down here about a minute ago, where they called Arcidiacono on the foul on Cotton. Now this is the same type of call here. The only thing is, I don't like, the game being decided on calls like that. These teams are playing, they're really going after each other, and they've got to decide the game. The players have to decide the game.
Villanova 9 of 16 from the line. Ryan Arcidiacono is 2 for 2, however. And now with that foul, that put Villanova in the bonus, so they get an opportunity here. with the second free throw to open it up again to 5.
The referee just told Ed Coley that the same call was made down here. That was the call that just happened.
And he's got them both. So it is now 63-58, and now huge possession. Providence has to do something here.
Yeah, they have to score for sure, and I drive the ball to the basket with Cotton. Oh,
and they're going to
really
call it
helps.
on Hilliard, and it'll be 2 shots for Cotton at the line in the double bonus. They are calling him close at midcourt now, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And Jay Wright's not down. It goes the other way. You know, when it's your player, you're never happy, obviously, but you can't foul in that situation if you're Villanova.
4 on Hilliard.
In other words, right here, when there is contact, how much contact? Not much.
But really unnecessary where the ball was.
But see, you don't need to make contact there.
And Cotton, who missed his first free throw of the game a moment ago now.
It's an interesting situation. Some coaches will play this out. In other words, let Villanova get a 35-second shot clock possession, see if Villanova can score. Other coaches will foul pretty quickly here. It's getting to that point in the game. But if Cotton makes this and it's just a 3-point game, I think Providence will just play straight up, good defense, hope Villanova misses and get the rebound.
Best free throw shooting in the country is Providence. 3-point game. And there's Fortune putting some pressure on in the backcourt.
Yeah, I think this is good. You don't necessarily want to foul.
And here is Chenault. And Villanova is in no hurry here with winding out 45 seconds to go and 19 on the shot clock. Archie Diacono at the point.
Can't foul here. If you're Providence, you got the shot clock down now, you can't foul.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Bell, and it falls off. Here comes Providence down by 3.
You've got to take it to the hole right here. You don't have to settle
here is
for
Hinton,
3.
and a whistle, no basket. No basket, foul before the shot. Or a timeout called before the shot. And it was a timeout called by Providence.
You know, players always make you look bad. When you call the timeout there and you're down 3 in this situation, the player relaxes and he just throws at the basket that goes in, right? So everybody in the stands goes, well, how come the coach called timeout? Well, he called timeout because he wasn't sure that 3 was going to go in. So now right here, you don't have to take a 3. You can drive the ball to the basket quickly, get to the foul line hopefully, but score a 2, make Villanova inbound the ball against pressure, and then foul when it gets in the hands of the guy you want to foul.
Providence is out of timeouts, and that could be important here with just under 30 seconds remaining in regulation, and the lead is 3.
Yeah, it will be important. Now, what Villanova can't do is foul. They cannot stop the clock. They have to make Providence score with the clock running. So you can't stop the clock here.
And they don't need the 3, but if it's there.
Yeah, where they should get the 3 in this situation, if Cotton drives, the defense collapses, and you have wide open people like a Harris, for example, on the perimeter, kick it to him and take the 3. But don't come out trying to take the 3. I really think you're better off trying to take the ball to the basket. Plus, the last thing any coach says is make sure you don't foul in this situation.
Well, they were 4 for 9. Back on January 5th, not bad at all. Better tonight, 6 for 13. But I think Villanova is going to really press them on the outside to prevent that 3 and let him get inside.
And so you got to go inside and get a quick 2 and stop the clock. The clock stops when you score in the last minute of the game. And you can set your press up and then try to steal the inbounds or whatever.
And Fortune, been a while since he hit a 3, but he's been pretty accurate tonight. So here it is, and Villanova is playing way out on the line, not letting Providence try the 3. Hinton, though, with Bax setting a screen, ties the game. And Bax set the screen for Hinton.
I'll tell you what, that showed a lot of poise there on behalf of Providence. They ran that play like it was the first play of the game. There was you couldn't see them hurrying or anything. They just took their time.
It wasn't the first play of the game, but it was the first points for LaDontae Hinton.
He knew he was hot. Now, I'll tell you what, and if you're Villanova, that's the last guy you think is going to shoot the ball in that situation. So that was a great play. And what Ed Cooley shows there is how much he believes in his players. Because even though there was, he hadn't scored yet, he still had enough confidence in his player to take that shot. And that tells you something about what coaches do, how well they know their teams, because he would have never run that play if he didn't think his player was going to make that.
And Gary, he could only take it if he had a screen in front of him.
Oh, it was a great screen. And Bats does all the dirty work for Providence. He gets every tough rebound. He posts up. He just makes them a much tougher physical team.
So will we have overtime, or will somebody come away with a victory? Will it be Providence needing a win against Villanova at home for their late season surge, or will Villanova survive and come back after that thrashing at Creighton on Sunday in a bounce-back game for them?
Yeah, and in this situation, you've got to put the ball in Pinkston's hands, I think, and let him try to go if he can isolate him down there. Now you can see Bats right there. Bats probably has 2-3 inches on Pinkston, but that doesn't matter if you post up and you have the size.
Arcidiacono, the point guard, brings it up, playing for the last shot to try to win the game for the Villanova Wildcats. Setting a screen, Pinkston at the top, Arcidiacono off the rim, and the rebound. No timeouts left for Providence. Their time is running out, and Hedden puts it off the rim as regulation comes to an end.
I think that would have counted if it went in.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That was a great job by Providence getting the ball down court.
They had no timeouts left, however. They couldn't set anything up, and so we're going to overtime, and no stranger to overtime for the Providence Friars this year. And no surprise that we have an extra session, Gary Williams.
These are the type of games where you don't want the game to end, so you get to see 5 more minutes of great basketball. And both these teams played well. You have to give Ed Cooley credit for the three-point play he ran to get this game tied up. It was a very patient play. 4 different guys handled the ball. They set a great screen, and they snuck a guy behind here that really hadn't taken a shot the whole game.
4 overtime games. 2 went into double overtime, and Providence is 2-2. We'll give you a Villanova story in just a moment. Let's go to our studio in LA and Rob Stone.
Shot to tie the score. A little disappointed with the look that Villanova got in that situation. It wasn't a great look.
And again, the last win against a top 10 team was against Villanova back January of 2011. Villanova was ranked 8th at the time. They're ranked number 9 here. So this is going to be a crucial session. Hart is the only player to foul out in the game. Josh Hart. And foul trouble. Nobody has 4 for Providence. Hilliard has 4 fouls for Villanova.
Yeah, that's really a key. Providence can play their defense. In other words, they're not worried about picking up a cheap one or anything like that. They're just going to play hard defensively.
And Gary, Villanova, as I mentioned, 3-0 in overtime. Wins over Iowa, Butler, and Marquette.
They're pretty good wins, especially in overtime, because those 3 teams they beat know what they're doing. You know, it was just, Villanova got off really well this fall when they started their games, and it's carried over into the regular season.
Providence, and you're right about their comeback. They were down by 5 with 1:06 remaining and came back to draw even. So Bats and Oshefu will jump. It'll be Hilliard, Arcidiacono, Pinkston, as well as James Bell and Harris. Well, you know who's playing for Providence. They play the whole game.
Yeah, same guys.
Villanova trying to draw first blood in overtime.
Interested to see if they can get the ball inside. It's been their best offense is to find Pinkston low.
And knocking the ball away. And last touch by Providence, nearly a steal, trying to get it down low. And Hedden hustling defensively.
Yeah, Providence has really expended a lot of energy tonight, to their credit. They've done everything they could to come back in that second half, and that takes a lot out of you. We'll see if they have anything left in this overtime period.
And we talked about the depth aspect early before we started, and let's see if it comes into play here. Jay Wright still pleading his case about something.
Yeah, I think somebody threw something on the floor down there on the baseline, and Jay wants make sure the referees saw that.
Hilliard will get the ball in bounds. 10 on the shot clock for Villanova. Arcidiacono way off the glass. Now Providence.
Yeah, you want to score first in the overtime if you can. Just a lot of it's just mentally, because you feel a lot better, and then that puts a little pressure on the other team. So you see what Providence tries to do here.
Harris is really at the point right now. Now Cotton picked up by Ryan Arcidiacono. Cotton goes behind Harris for three. Harris giving Providence a 3-point lead.
Wow, has he come up big in the second half and the overtime period.
Providence last led at the 15.5-minute mark, 39-38 before that three-pointer.
Ed Coley getting the crowd in the game.
Harris with 15. Now Providence defensively. And the basket no good, but a foul. And Bell will go to the line to shoot two.
Now Cotton does a good job of dribble penetrating, finds the open man off of the help situation, and Harris doesn't hesitate. And I think that's the key on that catch, is just shoot it. If you're going to shoot it, shoot it. Don't make a fake. Don't try to get settled. Just catch it and shoot. And Harris did a great job of that.
And here is Bell, just 1 for 1 from the line.
Bell's a senior. He wants to be there. He wants the ball in this situation. And, you know, he walks to the line. You can tell sometimes to the guy just to look how he gets on the line. Yeah, little swagger.
And Bell hits them both. So Bell now with 11 or 15 points in the game, and it's 66-65. Providence by 1. Minute and a half gone by in the first overtime session.
Now they're bringing Cotton back off of the screen.
Here's Batts. Reverse layup by Batts.
What a great shot by Batts. Once again, he used the rim for protection. Was able to get a little spin on there to hook it in.
68-65. Batts with 17 tonight. And he's tied with Cotton for the scoring lead. And Bell goes up, kept the foot down. Bell did not travel. And up and under gets the field goal. Bell has the points.
Bell's not going to let Villanova walk away from this game without giving her the great effort. You can just see it in his head. He's going to try to do everything he can to win this game. Right here, they're going to bring...
And a steal by Bell. They try to get it in to Harris.
That's too high of an angle to make that pass.
So on the turnover, Hilliard nowhere to go, and he travels.
They get it right back. Right there, the problem with that pass, you had to take 2 dribbles to the baseline and then make the entry pass from that angle.
So Providence with the ball and a 1-point lead. And here it was, shuffled both feet.
Yep, definitely a walk. Now right here, I want to get somehow Cotton making the play. He doesn't have to take the shot, but I like him making the play. Batts is setting the screen. They didn't switch that time. Same thing again. They're going to set a high screen. This time with Henton, who can shoot the ball if they do switch.
And stepping behind the line, though, this is a 2-point attempt. And the hustle there by Harris keeps it alive, and a new clock for Providence with a 1-point lead.
Yeah, great senior leadership there by Cotton, not getting the ball back and then trying to go right into another shot situation.
Under 2 minutes. And nearly a bad pass by Fortune. Good recovery inside and the foul. And Hinton will go to the line to shoot 2. And a chance to give Providence the 3-point lead.
Yeah, they cleared out this side and gave Hinton that whole left side of the baseline, and obviously he knows what to do with it there. And Villanova tried to come over in a help situation, but they couldn't get there in time.
Bell with his 3rd foul, and this is Hinton's first appearance at the free throw line tonight.
Yeah, no, I think Jay Wright did this little freeze time here on the free throw line. Call the timeout now just to mess him up. But what else Jay is going to do here is going to put in what play they want to run. Whether they make the free throws or not make the free throws, they're going to have to run something good down here.
Right now, let's send it to our studios and Rob Stone.
All right, Dick, thank you. We want to remind our viewers that Butler St. John's is already underway and coming up next year on Fox Sports 1. As soon as Villanova and Providence is done, Kellen Dunham just completed a 3-point play to give Butler a 7-4 lead with 15:42 left in the half. Of course, the big news, Dick, in this one, Chris Obekba injuring his ankle yesterday in practice, and he is out the next 10 to 14 days for St. John's.
And Rob, that's a huge blow for the top shot blocker who's come alive offensively as well. As we quickly take a look, Gary, at our game summary. And there is an 8-point advantage in the paint for the Wildcats. Friars trailed by 5 with 1:26. Here's how we got to overtime.
Yeah, this is a great play. A great screen by right there. And, you know, when you have a good shooter on your team over the course of a season, you don't worry about one game. You know that he's capable of making a big shot. And that's how Ed Cooley felt about that last situation. And it worked, you know, because Villanova didn't think the shot was going to come from that position on the court.
And Bats with the screen. And what we're seeing from Providence players is their ability to not just score, but to set screens, to do the little things, the dirty work.
Yeah, nowadays a lot of players, they don't like that. They'd rather not screen because you usually get hit if you set a screen. But Providence has gotten good looks all night by their screening.
So Henton will be coming to the line, as we mentioned, first time at the free throw line. He's a 79% free throw shooter, so he's proficient from there. But that's the numbers coming in, and now this is overtime.
Yeah, and, you know, this is the guy you want there. Whether he makes it or not, you don't mind him being on the line here, even though he hasn't shot him or whatever, because he's been there before.
Only points he has was that three-point basket that sent the game into overtime. Hits the first one, so 4 points, but that really doesn't tell the story of LaDontae Henton's contribution.
Right, and when you're at Cole, you don't even worry about that. You just know this guy can play. He's a good shooter for you all year, and even though he's had a tough time tonight, you'd like to see him on the line, probably ahead of some other players that maybe have shot fouls already.
All right, Villanova down by 3. 1:45 remaining in the first overtime session. Ryan Arcidiacono, guarded by Cotton, still with him. Arcidiacono feeding inside, and the basket and the foul. Daniel Oshefu gets the field goal, and Bats defending inside. And let's see if that's the 4th foul against Kadeem Bats.
Okay, here's what you can't do as an inside player. You can't come up the lane and leave a guy below you open, because you come up to help. There's nobody back there to pick up that guy. You have to fake and stay back.
Missed the free throw. That was Bats' 4th foul, but a chance to tie it up goes by the board. So Providence with a 1-point lead in the ball under a minute and a half to play in overtime. Bats against Oshefu.
Yeah, I like Bats getting the ball there in this situation.
Here he comes, going up with it, off the rim. And Oshefu the rebound, and now Villanova in a position to take the lead as we get close to a minute to go in OT.
Bats, if you could have one criticism for Bats tonight, and this guy worked so hard the whole game, he doesn't finish. He's been in a position to finish about 4 times in the second half, and he just doesn't finish.
Stoppage of play, no overtime called. Each team has 1. Ball was knocked out of bounds. Hilliard gets it into Arcidiacono. Shoelace became untied. That's why we had the delay. Here's Hilliard for 3. Big one. Wow. Darren Hilliard now with his 3rd 3 of the game. 11 points, and Villanova up by 2.
I tell you, that was a pretty good shot. The defense was there, and Hilliard just nailed it.
So now the burden of proof is on Providence now, with 45 seconds and 20 on the shot clock. Here is Cotton. Cotton going in, reverse layup. What a play!
That's very few players can make that shot. That's tremendous gymnastic athletic ability to make that shot.
Against the big people.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't matter. Cotton doesn't worry about that. He just gets in there and says, watch this.
Tied at 72, and a timeout called. So Bryce Cotton with 19 points. Remember, he only had 4 at the half. Came up big now and in the second half.
This is a play, a little stop-and-go dribble. Took off probably 5 feet outside the rim and got all the way over to the other side of the rim. Used the rim to protect against the big guys and managed to put the ball in. Just
and on
incredible.
Fox Sports 1, this could be the one. Look
where he takes off and look where he winds up.
Against the Giants of Villanova, getting a huge basket. And we're tied at 72 with 26.6 seconds remaining in overtime. Providence has 1 timeout left. Villanova is out of timeouts. Butler St. John's coming up next on FS1.
So Cotton's only played 44.5 minutes so far.
He has played
incredible.
He has played 50 minutes. I think he's played 50 minutes in every overtime game.
He is amazing.
Or double overtime, I should say.
You know, I would just like to see Ed Coley put a sub up to the table for Cotton, and Cotton see it over there, see what Cotton would do. I don't think he'd be a real happy camper in that situation.
How about the stop and go by him?
Oh, that's what set the whole thing up. When you can have that stop and go move, when you back up, he can shoot it, so you got to come up as a defensive player. Then he's by you before you can recover from that move you made defensively.
All right, so Villanova with a chance now can really play for the last shot. And after the 4-point first half, Cotton exploded for 15 in second half and in overtime. So 1 for 6 and 4, you know, didn't dismay Bryce Cotton.
Now you want to take this shot with about 4 seconds left, so that you have a chance to tap it in if you do miss. And Providence probably doesn't have a realistic chance to go down and score in that situation. So we'll see how much time's left when Villanova takes their shot.
Remember, Providence still has a timeout left. Wildcats trying to set up the winner here in overtime.
I'd still like to see Pinkston get the ball in this situation.
Arcidiacono at the point. Driving in. Tip misses. Loose ball. Final seconds. Final shot. And Providence with one last gasp, and we go into a second overtime here at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence. And what a good defensive job by the Friars on this last foray by Villanova.
Yeah, this is everybody to the basket on this. Had a good look. Now, everybody's going after the ball. Villanova thought they might have got hit there in that situation, but there's not a foul in that situation. You just have guys going after the basketball, and there's contact, but there's contact both ways. And, you know, you want the players to decide the game. I like that situation down the stretch.
Each team scoring 9 in the first overtime session, heading for a second. Right now, let's send it to Los Angeles and to
put
Rob
that spin on the ball to make sure he scored.
So Providence has been in a couple of double overtime games. They beat St. John's and they lost to Seton Hall. 2-2 overall in overtime games. And remember, Villanova perfect 3-0. And we're getting set for the jump for the second 5-minute session. Tip controlled by Villanova, and they're going to do it again.
I tell you, I don't know why they jump the ball anymore, because this happens on every jump ball. Players steal the tap, and usually they don't call it. They usually give it to the team where they used to give it to the team, and now they re-jump it, and I don't quite get this.
As I just said, Providence beating St. John's, losing Seton Hall in double overtime. This is their third and their 5th overtime game overall.
Okay, Villanova switch, see if they go inside the pass.
Misses the 3, and the rebound. Harris with a great save, but a deflection. Oshefu and Pinkston over on the corner.
Providence had people, you know, Harris saw them. They were open underneath, but couldn't make the play to get the ball there.
And as Gary said earlier, want to score the first points. And Oshefu going up, and he's fouled and will shoot a pair.
Yeah, but that's the guy you want on the line if you're Providence. You know, you want Oshefu to have to make these, so a lot of pressure on him.
That's 4 on Kenton.
Definitely a foul. They got him before the
Pinkston.
The block.
So Pinkston on the line.
Well, with Pinkston going to the line, I thought it was Oshefu.
So did I.
Pinkston going to the line, that changes things. That's what you want. That's what I thought Providence would do when they had that last possession in the first overtime. Just get the ball to Pinkston and get out of the way.
He was 4 for 9, so he's struggling. And Villanova only converts 1. That has been a big problem for them tonight.
Yeah, and it still might catch them. You know, in other words, you never know where those missed free throws are going to come into play.
And here's Batts with the basket from Cotton. Cotton getting an assist. That's his 9th of the game.
Cotton's so good at putting the ball away from the defensive player, where Batts catches it and just has to lay it up. It was a great pass by Cotton.
Providence by 1. Little more than a minute gone by in second overtime. Pinkston out there to set a screen. And it's tipped away by Bats. Taken away. Fortune has it into the hands of Providence Cotton. And here is Hinton going in. And knocked away by Hilliard. He knocked away with a great move against Hinton.
Good hands there.
Fortune won't let Hilliard get that three, and here's Oshefo stuffing it through on the penetration.
The one thing Villanova does consistently that's the best part of their offense, they make the extra pass. In other words, the driver could have shot there, but saw the defense come over, saw the open man, dropped it for the easy dunk.
Seesaw in second overtime, under 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, trying to get Cotton loose.
Here's Cotton, if nothing else, to draw the foul, and it's out of bounds. Last touch by Villanova. And it will be Providence ball with 19 on the shot clock.
Okay, here's really good defense. Got all ball there, makes a great play. And then on the other end of the court, the help comes over, and you find the open man, and that's just a great pass and a great finish.
Chenault is in for Hilliard. Why that substitution?
Must keep Cotton under control. He's gotten to the basket the last couple times. They want Chenault in there to stop Cotton from getting to the basket.
Villanova uses the one timeout they had here in the second overtime. 1 point lead for Villanova. Let's send it out to Rob Stone again. Rob, take it away.
All right, Dick, thank you. We want to update you on the activities from Madison Square Garden. Butler St. John's in action right now, and the Red Storm up 2. And again, playing without Chris Obekba, who's out 10 to 14 days after suffering an ankle injury, and follow slam there by Butler to tie things up.
And that's an example of exactly what you miss without Obekba, the shot blocker, the rebounder, Kyle Marshall, the slasher, as the three-pointer goes down for right there for Phil Green. But if I'm Butler, I'm going to look to attack the rim. It's what Kyle Marshall does best, and he has 6 points early in this game.
St. John's 2 of 4 from behind the arc, a game that would fall into a bad loss category for the St. John's team. They've won 5 straight games, very much now in contention for an NCAA tournament spot. And again, they have Villanova next on their schedule, and Villanova, who knows, it's at least 2 overtimes in Providence. Could be more the way things are going right now. And now St. John's on the break and up 3.
This is a loss that would seriously derail the momentum that they have built. They already have losses on the season to Penn State and DePaul. Certainly cannot afford another one. At this point, a Butler team is obviously not going to be an NCAA tournament team. They're looking to play the spoiler, making some big shots early in this game, making St. John's work.
So Butler now within 1. Again, as soon as we are done in Rhode Island, we'll get you right out to Madison Square Garden for the remainder of Butler St. John's. But now back to Dick and Gary at the dunk.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. Villanova completing a 3-game road trip, losing to Creighton after beating DePaul, and they can't wait to get home against St. John's next Sunday. And they'd love to get home with a big win over Providence to sweep that season series.
Yeah, and Villanova, this is mental right now. You can't be thinking about anything except winning this game. You can't be tired. You know, you've got to. It's just mental if you're tired right now. You've got to win this game. And now, on the other hand, Providence, if they can get this win against a really good Villanova team, that immediately puts them into talk about, you know, an NCAA tournament spot. And they still have some work to do after tonight, but at least it gets them to that point where they'll start being talked about.
No question, Gary, because Providence really, with those 3 losses, fell off a little bit. No one was talking about them. But now, after ending that 3-game losing streak, winning a game like this after losing by 30 in Villanova would be huge.
You see, I think that's one of the great things of expanding the tournament. It puts a spot in there for somebody like a Providence.
And the steal.
Yeah, it just...
Turnovers have really, and you saw that on our game summary, have really hurt Providence tonight.
You can't turn the ball over in and out of bounds play. You know, when you bring the ball in bounds, you just can't turn it over.
18 in the game.
That's a lot.
Here's Pinkston.
Yeah, this is what I like right here.
Pinkston off the glass.
See, if they need a go-to play, I think that's the play. You go to Pinkston. You go to Pinkston.
3-point lead for Villanova. Pinkston, by the way, was 17. And Cotton trying to thread the needle, and it's taken away. Try to get it to Bats driving, but it was a short pass, ill-advised by Bryce Cotton.
That's a tough catch for a big guy to make that catch. As you said, Dick, a short bounce pass is tough to catch in that situation.
So Villanova by 3 and the ball under 2 minutes to go.
I'm surprised if they don't find a way to get the ball back to Pinkston in this situation. He scored easy the last time down for Villanova.
Arcidiacono with 5 on the shot clock. In the paint, fall away, not the shot he wanted. Held it maybe a little bit too long without getting it to a teammate.
Yeah, you know, it's one thing to run time off the clock, but you have to have a good look before it gets down to like 5.
3-point game. Cotton flips it up, and the tip in by Batts. Kadeem Batts goes high to tip it in, and now Providence trails by 1 as we get close to a minute.
Make an argument for Batts being the best rebounder in the Big East this year.
21 points for Batts. High score in the game. 1 minute to go. Shot clock at 21. But Villanova still leads by a point.
I like this. They're trying to go into Pinkston. He's got it now.
Pinkston working against Fortune, has a size advantage and takes advantage
I don't
of
think
it.
they can stop that. Until they do, you got to keep doing it. You know, why go anywhere else until they stop that?
So now the lead is 3, and this is critical for Providence to get some points here. And a timeout called by Ed Cooley. So Providence using its last timeout, and Villanova leading by 3 and 27 seconds on the shot clock. Remember, Butler St. John's coming up next. They've been underway.
So I think that's a great timeout, because if you don't score here, you're in trouble. Okay, if you score, whether it's a 2 or 3, you're back in the game. You got pretty good chance to still win the game. So this timeout, you only have 1, but I think that you had to use it in that situation. Now the thing down here, if it happens again, Providence has got to find a way to get some help on Pinkston, because obviously he's proven one-on-one they can't stop him. So somebody's got to come off of somebody and get in there and help.
Key turnovers have really hurt Providence, especially here in the second overtime.
Yeah, and you don't want to throw the ball to that corner anyway. And he wasn't open. He just flat out wasn't open. Now, what I think could happen to defend the passer, Harris was supposed to turn that down toward the baseline more, and it didn't happen.
And here's what happened.
See, nobody gets in to give help, and Pinkston's too strong. He's a big guy.
You know, Gary, on that turnover, again, it was a bad angle, wasn't it?
Yeah, passing, the great passers get angles all the time to make passes. And that allowed the defense to hit the passing lane.
Providence down by 3. Cotton misses the 3, but there's Hinton with the offensive board. And Cotton's going to try again from 3, and he hits.
What a great pass by Hinton in that situation.
Ties it up.
Just really unselfish, really smart heads-up play. Last shot for Villanova.
They've been here before, haven't they, Villanova? With a chance for the last shot, and a timeout called by the Wildcats with 16.6 to try to win it, or perhaps we go to a third OT.
2 things. I think right here, how smart is that? You got a power move yourself, but you got your best shooter open at the 3-point line, and just a great look, and Cotton delivered.
Providence 9 of 17 from 3-point range tonight, Gary.
You're almost happy for Cotton. You know, you're not rooting for either team, but you're kind of happy for Cotton that he makes that shot because of how he's competed all year.
Well, both teams in the double bonus, and the question is, with a great crowd on hand here in Providence, can they urge on the Friars to what would be a huge win against a nationally ranked team?
If Providence wants to, right here, you can put all kinds of pressure on the inbounds pass, because Villanova's not going to shoot until the clock winds down, so you don't have to worry about them running a play to take a quick shot. They're going to try to throw the ball into the backcourt probably. So if I'm Providence, I'm really looking for this inbounds pass, just like Villanova stole the inbounds pass from the baseline.
So it'll be Hilliard back in the game. Arcidiacono, Oshefu, Pinkston.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Chefu's in here right now. Yep. I thought they might get another shooter in there for him.
So here it is. Villanova with a chance to win it. Arcidiacono driving in. Basket and a foul. Big basket by Ryan Arcidiacono after controlling in the perimeter, driving to the hoop.
Now, I don't understand where the help was in that situation. In other words, if you're going to get beat, you can't get beat on a layup. You got to make somebody make a tough shot. So if I'm playing one of the shooters on the three-point line, I go in and at least show help on the drive there. And then I know he's going to kick it probably back to my man because I left my man. But I'm going to fly at that guy. And with that shot clock coming down, that guy's going to probably take that so I can fly from a long way and try to bother that shot.
Kadeem Batts fouls out with 21 points, 11 rebounds. And that only begins to tell the story of his contribution tonight. He had the double-double. Arcidiacono with 20 points, 4 for 4 from the line. And we'll go to the line.
Okay, right here, Harris is the guy that's got to help in this situation. Right here, he doesn't get in. He worries about his man going out to half court, and he makes no effort at all to get in there to help. And that's the guy that could have given help on that drive.
Now, there was Cotton underneath there as well.
Right. But he had to come from the offside. You've got to stop that thing before it gets into the paint. And it got into the paint. It was too late then.
Arcidiacono gives Villanova a 3-point lead with 3.6.
Do you foul if you're Villanova?
What do you do? What do you do?
I foul right there.
And they didn't. And here's Hinton for 3. And that'll do it. They could have, they didn't, and Hinton misses the 3. His 3 sent the game into overtime, and in double overtime, Villanova defeats Providence 82-79. And for the Wildcats, they come back after the thrashing at Creighton and come back and win a road game against Providence. They go to 23-3, 12-2 in the Big East. Providence falls to 17-10 and 7-7 in the Big East. Heartbreaking loss for Providence, but a huge road win for Villanova. Rob Stone in our studio in LA. Rob?